Hello folks, and welcome back to another episode of Zesty Steel. Today we're going to be tackling a crowd-pleasing favorite of mine, buffalo chicken lasagna. While this recipe isn't going to be winning any health awards, it sure is to impress at a party. To start, we're going to take 5 pounds of chicken breasts and cover them with an entire bottle of Frank's Red Hot. You can use whatever hot sauce you want, but Frank's is pretty darn tasty. Next, we're adding about a tablespoon of white vinegar. We're then going to add about 4 tablespoons of granulated garlic. If you have fresh garlic, even better. You can use about 8 cloves to really give it a nice kick. Then we're going to add about the same 4 tablespoons of onion powder. We're then going to give everything a nice good mix with our sword. Now be careful not to slosh anything out. Maybe use a bigger pan than mine. We're then going to turn the heat to medium-high to bring this to a simmer. Once simmering, we're going to chop up 1 stick of butter and put it inside. After we add the butter, we're going to put the pan to medium-low and heat for about 45 minutes, stirring the chicken every 15 minutes until it's thoroughly cooked, or looks like this. We are then straining the chicken out of the sauce and letting it cool for a few minutes before we get to shredding. Now, as I was filming this, a new member of the Zesty Steel arsenal arrived, minutes before I was ready to shred. So, say hello to Mr. Mace. So we are going to shred our chicken using the mace. The best way to do this is with a gentle rocking motion, using the spikes. So keep shredding your chicken until all of it is in nice, tiny little pieces. We are then going to add some of the sauce back to our chicken. Just enough to try and get it covered and slightly moist. Next, we're going to move on to our buffalo bechamel for the lasagna. This is going to be the main sauce, so we need a lot of it. To get started, we're melting 3 sticks of butter, yes 3, in a pan. We are then mixing with our chainmail coif before we begin to add flour. Now you'll want to add the flour in 1 cup increments until you have a nice paste. We are then going to slowly stream in 4 cups of milk, stirring the entire time. Then realize that your pan is way too small for the amount you're making, and get a new one. Keep slowly streaming in milk over medium heat until it begins to thicken. Then we're going to add about a pound of shredded extra sharp cheddar cheese. And get back to mixing. Sorry about the earlier footage, let's just change that up a little bit so you can actually see what's going on. We are then going to add the rest of our buffalo sauce to the bechamel. Now it is tradition with this recipe to make sure that you have made a total and utter mess of your kitchen. Every pot, pan, and surface should be covered with buffalo bechamel by now. Keep mixing and mixing until it gets nice and thick. We want it to be about the consistency of wet paint. I tasted mine and then decided that it needed a bit more cheese, so play it by ear. I added about another ½ pound of this sharp cheddar. Now our sauce is nice and thick and looking just about done. Now it's time that we start assembling our lasagna. We are starting by shingling no-boil lasagna noodles along the base, snapping some in half to make sure that they fit. Next, we're adding some of our buffalo bechamel, then a layer of chicken, then ½ pound of cheddar cheese, more noodles, sauce, and then chicken. After we're done with our chicken, it's time to think about what cheeses we want on top. I'm going with a pound of sliced pepperjack cheese. I'm then going to cover that with a pound of shredded mozzarella. Yeah, a lot of cheese this episode. Now we're ready to bake. So we're baking this in a 425-degree oven for 30 minutes covered with aluminum foil, then removing the foil for an additional 15 minutes. If you want that fancy lasagna leopard cheese spotting, feel free to put this under the broiler for about 2 minutes. Let your lasagna rest for about 10 minutes before cutting. Now it's time to dig in, and this dish is best served among friends. Heaven knows that eating this by yourself would cause, well, death probably. Either way, this dish is certainly a crowd pleaser, and everyone around will leave a few thousand calories happier than when they came in. Now what could be more American than a few thousand calories, friends, and gluttony? I hope you all have a wonderful 4th of July. This is going to take 4 hours to clean.